The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
When Jesus came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And then a leper approached, did him homage, and said, Lord, if you wish, you can make me clean. He stretched out his hand, touched him, and said, I will do it. Be made clean. His leprosy was cleansed immediately. Then Jesus said to him, see that you tell no one, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
God called Abraham, and throughout the Old Testament he called people to do his will. And then in the fullness of time he sent Jesus. And Jesus called people to follow him. He called his disciples. And he's still calling people today. He's called us. And we can say yes or no. I was reading recently that in advertisements that you have to see an ad 7 times before you actually decide to buy it. But that's why it's 7 times. So the same thing I think is true with the call of God. When Jesus called people, the disciples almost instantly left their jobs and became fishers of men. But Jesus called many people and they said no. And I think we have to keep at it. When I was here yesterday, I asked you all to help me find 2 men for quads that start tonight. Did any of you go home and try and call, reach out to men to help me with the quads? I know one man in the Knights of Columbus sent out an email to all the Knights to tell them I was looking for some people. Did anybody invite anyone? Okay, well, today will be the second time. Today will be the second time. But I think it's the person that developed the quad process, Greg Ogden, he said, putting the quads together is very messy. It doesn't happen overnight. The same way as building a church. As the Pope Francis said, it's like a field hospital. It's messy. Because as human beings, we're slow to respond to God. We're slow to do his will. And I came across 12 marks of a disciple. And the first is that we answer the call. We need to remember we're called by God to build his kingdom and to bear fruit. And that's the first step, is to remember the call of God, to discern the call of God. The second is to respond. Say yes to God and do his will. Disciples love. And, God is love, and it's important that we love, so that's vital. Disciples bear fruit. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit and prove to be my disciples. Disciples are obedient. Notice we can't imitate Jesus unless we're obedient to him. Disobedience is a non-starter. Disciples are taught. The disciples were constantly learning. And the life of a Christian disciple is one of lifelong learning. Disciples follow. That's what the word disciple means. It means to follow. And who do we follow?
Jesus.
Well, we have a choice between Jesus or the bad guy. So it's important that we follow the good guy, Jesus. Disciples keep an eye on heaven. That's the goal. Remember the old catechism asked the question, why are you here on earth? And the answer? To know, love, and serve him in this life, so we could be happy with him forever. So a disciple keeps an eye on heaven. Disciples carry crosses. Just because you say yes to God doesn't mean everything is going to be hunky-dory. Jesus said to follow me, you have to take up your cross each day. And the road of a disciple is the road of the cross. The disciple is a person of prayer. And prayer is vital. Prayer is that pipeline to God. It's that connection. Disciples love and serve God and others. That's important. Service. The apostles were always serving, and we're called to do the same. And then the final thing is, disciples make disciples. Wouldn't it be great if we could get Catholics to make disciples and have the same enthusiasm for making disciples as the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Latter-day Saints? I mean, the way they go out to evangelize. They can teach us a lot. So disciples make disciples. So we need to make disciples.